What if I told you there was once a man so rich, his casual generosity on a road trip literally crashed the economy of 3 countries? We're not talking about a market dip. We're talking about a decade-long gold crisis caused by one person being too generous. Today, we're counting down the top 10 richest people in human history, and the numbers are going to break your brain. We're talking wealth so extreme that modern billionaires look like they're playing with pocket change. Some of these fortunes could buy entire nations. Others shaped the course of human civilization itself. By the end of this video, you'll see why even today's tech titans are dwarfed by history's true wealth giants. Let's dive in. Starting at number 10, Mir Osman Ali Khan, with a fortune estimated at $230 billion. The Nizam of Hyderabad in early 20th century India was so wealthy, so drowning in riches, that he used a 185-carat diamond, one of the largest in the world, as a paperweight. Not displayed in a museum, not locked in a vault, a paperweight on his desk for holding down papers. Picture this. His personal collection included a treasury so vast that when India gained independence, it took years just to inventory what he owned. Palaces, jewels, gold bars stacked to the ceiling. Time magazine called him the richest man in the world in 1937, and they weren't exaggerating. At number 9, Sergey Brin, worth approximately $245 billion. Google's co-founder turned a Stanford research project into the gateway to human knowledge. Brin and Larry Page literally organized the world's information and got astronomically rich doing it. Together, they created something more valuable than oil, more essential than steel. They created the architecture of how modern humans access knowledge. And while they've stepped back from day-to-day operations, their Alphabet stock holdings keep them firmly in the ultra-elite tier of wealth. Number 8, Larry Page, sitting at around $265 billion. The other half of Google's founding duo. Every time someone searches for anything, anywhere in the world, Page's creation is likely involved. That's not just wealth, that's power over information itself. Here's a fun fact. Google processes over 8.5 billion searches per day. Page essentially built a toll booth on the information superhighway, and everyone pays to pass through. Every single day. Coming in at number 7, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia at approximately $300 billion. The last emperor of Russia didn't just own property. He owned 1/6 of the Earth's land surface. Think about that for a second. Russia under the Tsars stretched from Europe to the Pacific Ocean. Every mine, every forest, every oil field. It all belonged to Nicholas II and his family. But here's the tragic irony. All that wealth couldn't save him. The Russian Revolution swept it all away, and the Romanov family met a brutal end. Sometimes being the richest person in the world just makes you the biggest target. At number 6, Andrew Carnegie, with an inflation-adjusted fortune of $372 billion. Picture this. It's 1901. You control virtually all the steel in America during the biggest industrial boom in human history. Railroads, skyscrapers, battleships, they all need your product. That was Andrew Carnegie. But here's what makes Carnegie legendary. He sold his company for $480 million. That's nearly $400 billion today, and then gave away 90% of it. He built over 2,500 libraries around the world. Imagine a modern billionaire giving away $350 billion tomorrow. That's the Carnegie effect. His quote, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." And he meant it. Number 5, Larry Ellison, hitting a peak of around $395 billion. Oracle's co-founder and one of tech's original titans. In early 2025, Ellison briefly overtook other billionaires as the world's richest person thanks to AI-driven tech stocks going absolutely nuclear. Here's the kicker. Ellison once said he didn't work for the money. He worked because he was obsessed with winning. And when you're playing a game measured in hundreds of billions, that's a terrifying opponent. At number 4, we're entering truly legendary territory. Mansa Musa I of Mali, estimated at over $400 billion. It's 1,324. The Mali Empire controls half of the world's gold, and the king, Mansa Musa, decides to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. But this isn't just a spiritual journey. It's the most extravagant display of wealth in human history. Here's what happened. Mansa Musa traveled with a caravan of 60,000 people. He brought 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of gold. That's 12 tons of gold just for the journey. And as he passed through Egypt and the Middle East, he gave gold away to everyone he met. So much gold that he tanked the price of gold across 3 continents for over a decade. Think about that. One man caused economic inflation that lasted 10 years by being too generous. The reports from the time describe streets lined with gold, gifts so extravagant that merchants and rulers couldn't believe what they were seeing. Cairo's economy still hadn't recovered 12 years later. If you try to calculate Mansa Musa's actual wealth in modern terms, you'd struggle because he didn't just have have money. He controlled the source of money itself. He owned the gold mines. All of them. But wait, there are still 3 people richer. Number 3, John D. Rockefeller, estimated between $400 to $600 billion or more. Here's a name that terrified presidents. At his peak, Rockefeller controlled 90% of America's oil. Not a company that sold a lot of oil. He controlled the entire industry. Standard Oil was so powerful that the U.S. government had to break it up into 34 separate companies. And guess what? Rockefeller owned stock in all of them. The breakup made him richer. Here's the mind-blowing part. Economists estimate his wealth represented 1.5% of the entire U.S. economy. To match that today, you'd need to be worth about $400 to $600 billion minimum. Guinness World Records often cites him as the wealthiest person in modern history when you adjust for economic share. His wealth was so vast, so incomprehensible, that it became the standard by which all American fortunes were measured. Some calculations put him as high as $600 billion or more when fully adjusted for economic context. Only 2 modern titans surpass him in raw numbers. At number 2, Elon Musk, at approximately $640 billion. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the platform formerly known as Twitter. Musk's net worth has swung by $50 billion in a single day. Think about that. Most people don't make $50,000 in a year, and this man's wealth can fluctuate by 1 billion times that before lunch. Here's the scale. Musk's peak wealth could buy every single NBA, NFL, and MLB team combined, and he'd still have $500 billion left over. He's reached heights no modern human has ever documented. His companies have revolutionized electric vehicles, private space travel, and satellite internet. That's not just wealth accumulation. That's reshaping multiple industries simultaneously. But believe it or not, when we look at the full picture, the question of number 1 becomes fascinating. So who takes the number 1 spot? Here's where it gets interesting, because the answer actually depends on how you measure wealth. If we're talking about the highest documented net worth in modern dollars, Elon Musk sits at the top with around $640 billion, with some calculations during peak market moments pushing even higher for various tech titans. But when serious economists try to calculate richest ever, using objective metrics like share of GDP, economic influence, and purchasing power, John D. Rockefeller consistently comes out on top. His wealth represented such a massive chunk of the American economy that adjusted calculations put him at $600 billion or more, and he controlled an absolute monopoly. By economic share, he's unmatched. And if we're measuring absolute resource control and legendary status, Mansa Musa is in a category of his own. He didn't just own wealth. He owned the source of wealth itself. His gold reserves were so vast they couldn't be accurately counted, and he literally broke economies just by passing through them. So here's the verdict. The richest person in human history depends on your measuring stick. Highest documented number in modern dollars? That's Elon Musk at the peak. Greatest share of the economy and monopolistic control? John D. Rockefeller dominates. Most legendary resource dominance? Mansa Musa remains unmatched. All of them achieved something extraordinary. They didn't just have wealth. They controlled the fundamental resources that created wealth for everyone else. Oil that powered the modern world. Gold that backed currencies. Technology that connects humanity. Electric vehicles and space exploration that could define our future. That's not just being rich. That's reshaping human civilization. So who was the richest person in human history? The honest answer is it depends on how you measure. But here's what's undeniable. Every person on this list proves that extreme wealth comes from controlling what the world needs most at that moment in time. Steel during industrialization. Oil during the machine age. Information during the digital revolution. Gold when it was literally money itself. The pattern is clear. The richest people don't just make money. They control the infrastructure of wealth itself. Now here's a question for you. How should we measure richest ever? Raw dollars? Economic share? Resource control? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this made you see wealth differently, smash that like button and subscribe, because we've got more mind-bending deep dives coming your way. The real question isn't just who is richest. It's what will be the next resource that creates this level of wealth. AI? Quantum computing? Space resources? Maybe the richest person in history hasn't even been born yet. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.